Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. I'm Julie Lefebvre, your host. Life is remarkable, sometimes raw, and always real. And some days we could use a little extra encouragement for our real lives. Here you'll find that, along with personal life-impacting stories, helpful life hacks, timely inspiration, biblical insight, and a fresh perspective. The Encouragement for Real Life podcast equips you to be a light in this world and to shine bright wherever God has you. I'm glad you're here today. Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. I'm Julie Lefebvre, and I am thrilled that you decided to spend time with me here today. It is our guest episode for the month, and joining me is a beautiful friend who I have just appreciated for so many years, Pamela Henkelman. She is a fellow Iowan. She is an empty nest coach, which you'll learn more about what that is. And she is just a faithful friend, a faithful follower of Jesus. And her life is just a beautiful example of just what God can do with an open heart that's surrendered to Him. And in our conversation, we talk about so many wonderful things, including a story that she doesn't always talk about, but that she is living out right now in her own life, and it involves some suffering and some patience, and I think it's really going to encourage you. She's also talking about her ministry and what God is really speaking to her now in her empty nest season of life. And so, whether you are in that empty nest season or you're not, I believe you're going to find encouragement and hope in Pamela's words. So let's get right into this episode. Pamela, thank you so much for joining me here on the Encouragement for Real Life podcast.
It is my pleasure to be here, Julie.
We were just laughing here as we are hopping on our screens, and it's been quite a journey to get here today. But God is faithful, and Pamela, I am just, like I said, thrilled that you are here. I look forward to our conversation together. I believe that you have much to share that will encourage someone listening today. So, Pamela, I've known you for years, and all year long, I am inviting guests on my podcast who have just impacted my life at some point over the years, and you have definitely done that. And I've known you for quite a long time, and I just want to thank you for your presence in my life, your friendship, your words of encouragement. You send me a text just when I need it, and you have greatly impacted me. I know you've prayed for me, and I just appreciate you so very much. So again, thank you so much.
Oh, it is my pleasure to be your friend. It is a joy and a gift.
And I feel the same. So that you are my friend. So great. Thank you. Like I said, I've known you for a few years now. And so I'm not quite sure. I think we first met, right, at the Northwestern Christian Writers Conference. We knew each other. But we met in
knew
person.
of each other, but we met in person. Yes.
Yeah.
But we were pretty much, we didn't know much about each other.
No, that's really.
I remember when I met you and I was like, oh, she's so shy. She's so quiet. She's like the absolute opposite of me. I remember feeling like drawn to you. You have this like gentleness and this kindness and the sweetness about you that I was drawn to. And then look what the Lord did.
I know. We'll talk more about that. But for someone maybe who doesn't know who Pamela Henkelman is, would you just share a little bit about your life, what you do, anything about you that you would just like to share today?
Sure. As Julie said, I am a fellow Iowan. I just live an hour and a half from you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right outside of Des Moines. And actually, I'm a Minnesota girl, though. We've been in our ministry, we've moved in a few different states, but the Lord has brought us back to Iowa. I am a happily married woman to my hubby, Bob. We will celebrate 39 years in the fall, and we have 5 adult kids, 4 grandkids with 1 more on the way. And so during the day, I do lots of things. After 24 years of full-time pastoral ministry, we shifted to a parent church ministry. And for the last 2 years, we've been with Sheepgate, a division of Adult and Teen Challenge. So my husband is a full-time pastoral mentor, and we are a residential treatment program for men who struggle with addiction. But the cool thing about our model is we just heal broken hearts. And we don't do it, the Lord does that. And so we just teach people how to have a relationship with the Lord. And it's astounding what can happen once you heal that, the relationship with God. And so I work part-time there. I support the wives of the men who are still married. And believe you me, there aren't very many. But I put on 3 times a year, I do a wife's weekend to just help these couples strengthen their marriages. And then the rest of my time is spent in this weird online space where I'm an empty nest coach. And you might say, an empty nest coach? Never heard. Well, I help women in this most pivotal transition of their life because women have been so beautifully supported when we're raising our kids. But once our children reach adulthood, the world goes quiet and women are left wondering, oh my gosh, what do I do? It's supposed to look different. How do I find my identity apart from my motherhood? How do I strengthen my empty nest marriage? How do I handle estrangement? So just all these complex things with relationships. So I support moms that way. I'm a natural encourager like you are, and I love mentoring women. I love coming alongside women, and I love helping people grow like that. That just fires me up. And then in the midst of all this online stuff of writing and such, the Lord's like, why don't you start a podcast? And I said, well, that sounds fun. I don't know anything about that. Let's try it. So 4 years ago, I started the Midlife Mama podcast. And about a year ago, Christian Parenting Podcast Network picked me up. And so that's just been a beautiful area of growth and having these great interviews. And so, like you, it's just so fun to be in this world of podcasting.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, and I know even though we started at different times, neither one of us really knew what we were doing, but God just took us step by step by step.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
isn't that what he does in our everyday
Yes.
life? He just,
Mhm.
he just takes us to the next thing and then the
Mhm.
next thing. And yes, I just love all of that, all that you do. And you are a beautiful encourager. It just oozes out of you naturally. It's just not something you have to work at, but that's just who you are. And I'm grateful that God
Thank you.
has knitted you that way. Yeah. Just
Thank you.
you have a beautiful ministry. And it's not even, I wouldn't even, I guess I call it ministry, but it's more than that. It's just serving God and serving others. And
Yeah, serving moms. I
yeah.
wake up every day and I say, I get to serve moms. This is amazing.
Mm. Yeah. And you're right. There's a void after we don't launch our kids, but God, takes them on their path and those heartstrings
Yeah.
start to stretch. And what do we do then? And you
Mhm.
just serve a very needed part of our motherhood. And I'm really glad that you have stepped into that space.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we met, yes, at that writers conference, I don't know if it was before or after that, but we joined our friend Rachel. She put out this call to anyone want to start praying for us, for each other on Monday mornings. And that was was that January 2021? Was that January, February?
I don't know
I think.
which month it was, but it
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
2021. Yeah. Been
And
at it
so
for 5 years.
5 years, we just kind of started with this Zoom group and we're still together today. I'm so grateful that we have this group of 5 that have just kind of stuck together. What has been the most precious thing for you in this prayer group?
Yeah, for me, I'm all about connection and relationship.
Mhm.
So having genuine friends who, number one, understand this online space that we live in. It's so weird. Like you try to explain it to normal people in your life, and they're like, what? But when I'm with you on a Monday morning, we're all in this together and it feels like such support. And I love that there is not jealousy, there is not envy within us. It's just like we rally around each other and say, you can do this, you can do this. Yeah, it may feel scary. So we may not know what to do, but we're going to do it. And we just keep going. And that level of intimacy, of just longevity, where we are able to be safe with each other and be honest with each other, that's the gift. That's the kind of relationship I want. I don't want this like surface. How are you?
I know.
You can't go deep with everyone, but you can find a few people. And the gift of vulnerability is this deep sense of feeling seen and understood and known. And that's a gift.
Yeah, isn't it? And that gift continues to grow and we can't, even though we've started off maybe more in the superficial, everything's great with me.
Yeah.
But after 5 years,
Yeah, no,
yes,
we
we've
don't
gone
know it.
deep. No,
We can see it
no.
on each other. We're like, fess up.
Well, that's what you said on Monday when I was like holding some things and I'm like, you're like, I'm doing well. I know I wasn't doing well. And once I was able to share honestly with all of you, God just lifted this burden off of me. And I think it's such a gift when we can find that group of people, even if it's one person that we can just pray with and trust our souls with, because that's a very special thing. And not everyone has that.
Exactly. And I think too, the element of prayer, like we've been praying each other for 5 years and we are living in answered prayer, each one of us, like profoundly. Yes, there are some things that we're still waiting on God to move on, but I believe that He will, and we believe that we will. So we're like such women of faith, and that component, it feels just so special and
Yeah.
intimate.
Yeah, it really does. That's a great word for it, intimate. Because not only are we partnering with God, but we get to share it with those of us in our group that we can just know that they're praying for us too behind the scenes.
Right.
So yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I agree with you totally. Um, is there one specific I'm going to go back to the empty nest part. Now, when did you officially launch into being an empty nester? Do you
It
remember
was
what
2020.
year?
Yeah, it was 2021. It was
Oh, it
at
was.
that whiting retreat because I had met with someone. It was supposed to be an agent, but I met with Susie Larson and she was
Yeah.
lovely. And she's
Oh,
like, I'm
yes,
going to
she
talk to
does.
you about it. But I had this dream of writing a book for parents of adult kids. And she's like, I really think you should go for it. And so I was talking with Rachel on the drive back home and I said,
Yeah.
Rachel, I think I'm supposed to do this. And she said, Pamela, you just got to rip off the Band-Aid and start talking about it. So literally, I just started talking about it. It was
Yeah.
I went to my website, changed a little bit of the language, changed a little bit of the language on my Instagram, but then off I went. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
Like we shift, we move, we change.
Right.
It's no big deal.
Right. Right. And in that you were walking through it in your own personal life at the same
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
So what's one thing that you wish you would have known before stepping into this season of life of empty nest? Is there anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think understand and knowing. I mean, I started releasing kids to adulthood back in 2007. Like my oldest son is
Oh, wow.
37. So like
Yeah.
Tomorrow. And the
Yeah.
youngest one went to college in 2019, so we have been empty nesters for 6 years. But I wish I would have known back then is that we made motherhood our identity. Like every mom just does this. You're like,
Yeah.
"I'm a mom." We love being moms. We've poured our life into these kids, and yet then when our kids step out into the world, we're left with this void. We're like, well, who am I if I'm not a mom? Because we don't actively mom in the same way. We shouldn't. Like, we're supposed to move to a supportive role. We don't direct our kids anymore. That's not our job. The Lord directs them. And so we step out of the way and make room for God. And yet women feel this void. So I wish I would have had a better understanding that motherhood was just one thing I did. It was precious. It was powerful. It was all consuming, but it's not my entire identity. I get my identity from being a daughter of God, loved, chosen, valuable, redeemed, forgiven. That's my identity. It's not in the role we have. And even as a pastor's wife, I used to have my identity in that. I'm like, there came a point in the time where I didn't even tell people I was a pastor's wife anymore because I knew that I was free of that role. That wasn't my identity. And that felt so good. Like I loved being a pastor's wife, but I didn't make it my identity. And so learning to do that with all these roles, but especially motherhood is so important. because God has more. God has good for us apart from our motherhood, and everything that we learned in motherhood prepares us for this season. And you got to remember, our 50s, 60s, and 70s are some of the most productive, fruitful decades of our life. So when the culture says, "Oh, you're getting less
Yeah.
than,"
Fear
oh,
watched them. Yeah.
oh no, oh no, it is just literally getting started for me and for you. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to be 61, and I'm like, well, I can't wait to see what the Lord does.
Yeah. I mean, look what he's done since your kids have been launched, or since they left your
They
home.
launch
Look at
into
all
the
that God has
world.
done in your
Mhm.
life. I mean, that's when now you have a podcast. You never had the podcast
I
before your
didn't have a
kids
dog. I wasn't
gone.
supposed.
No. So yeah, this is a productive, beautiful, just I don't even want to say productive, but it is productive, but it's a beautiful season of life that God can really we can even have dreams that we can, the dreams that we put on hold, now we can follow.
Yeah, I set my dreams on a shelf for the 30 years that we were parenting our
Yeah.
families. I think because full-time ministry and 5 kids, I couldn't find margin for chasing my dreams. I just couldn't. I didn't know how. I know other people do, but I wasn't able to. And
Yeah.
so now I get to pursue that, and it's not selfish, it's not self-centered, it's God's calling on our lives.
Yeah. Was there a specific dream that you shelved that now you're living or now that you're seeking? Or is
I
it
think all
part
of
of what you're
this,
doing every
all of
day?
this,
Yeah.
what I'm doing
Yeah.
every day, but it's also writing a book. That's still a dream. So
Yeah.
it's out there. It's out there.
It is. It is.
It's
Yeah.
coming.
It is. I firmly believe that too. Yeah. And it's going to be a beautiful book and it's going to minister to many, many of us. So can't wait to see what God does in that dream. What do you love most about your own empty nest with Bob? What do
Oh
you love
God.
most?
We are having the time of our lives. Honestly, it's more fun than we ever imagined. I think when you're so focused on the kids, it's really easy to forget to focus on each other. But now you have margin and you have freedom. And also, we had this kind of weird dichotomy is that we were pastors for 24 years, so we never had freedom on the weekends. Now we're like, "What? We Saturdays and Sundays to do whatever we want? How is that even possible?" When our nest first emptied in 2019, we would just walk around saying, "We can do whatever we want when we want." And we were like, "This is amazing. This is amazing." And so, um, we've always worked at cultivating a healthy marriage because both of us come from families that didn't have strong marriages, and we really wanted to do it differently. We wanted to be an example to our kids. We're not perfect, but we're getting way better. We're getting way better.
Mhm.
And I feel like this season of our marriage, we're just so much more gracious with each other than we were years before, and that's been sweet.
That is yeah, that is wonderful. Mm. You give us all hope, the those of us maybe that aren't quite in that empty nest stage, but and we've maybe not even thought about it before, but yes, it is a beautiful season, and I am so grateful to hear, how you all are flourishing in that season now. It's different for every one of us, and I love
It
that.
really is because marriage is complex. It's because you take
Mm.
2 people with 2 different ways of seeing the world, and God puts you together, and you're like my husband and I, opposite. And so we've been, like, refining each other for almost 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so that
Go
this is difficult, but
Yeah, and then you mix kids in it, in the mix, and then you adjust there, and then when they leave, you adjust again, and
Mhm,
yeah, yeah, God is faithful all the way through.
mhm.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Um, this month on the podcast, I try to do a theme each month, and this month my theme is stories I don't always tell, and I've been sharing just stories that I really don't talk about behind the microphone or even write about very much, but I just think it's important that we share our stories because it helps us and it encourages others and it gives glory to God. And so I would love to know, people look at you, Pamela Henkelman, she's a podcaster, she's a coach, she's a empty nest coach. She's an empty nest mom. She's got it all together, and you do by the grace of God, in his timing and his will. But is there any one story that maybe stands out to you that you don't always tell, that you don't typically talk about? You could maybe just give some highlights or share about today?
Sure. It's a story that I'm still in the middle of. I thought it would be over by now, but it is not. But almost 3 years ago, I had a dental procedure that resulted in this chronic pain in my jaw. So I've had this, it's called trigeminal neuralgia. Don't look it up because it's awful, but it causes burning. For some people, it's a sharp jabbing, like electrical. For me, it's a constant burning. So from in my left jaw, it's always on fire. It's just fire in my jaw, and it is exhausting. And oh, it has been a journey. It has been a journey because when it first happened, um, I have seen God do miracles. I have seen God move. And when he didn't move, I was like, what am I doing wrong? Oh,
Wow.
excuse me, God, you're the God of the universe. You could just go, oh, I'll better. Because I've seen God heal bodies. I've seen it. I believe it. We're living it. And so when that didn't happen, it was very distressful for me. And I had a surgery last June that was a cyber knife. They went in and did some radiation on my brainstem. That didn't work. And then in April of this year, I had another oral surgery. So far, that hasn't worked. I don't know what else to do. I've seen so many doctors. I have seen pain clinics, neurologists, Chicago, Iowa, um, DOs, you name it. I've tried it.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's been so exhausting. And I think the hardest part for me is that you don't see it on me. And that leaves me feeling unseen. And that is
Wow.
really hard. Everyone's always like, "Oh, but you don't look like you're in pain." And I always say, "Would you prefer that I walked around with ashes on my head? Would that help you?" You know? And so
Oh,
for me, it's not about pretending. It's just that I don't want it to be the focus because the Lord, in his kindness, has helped me to endure. Do I want to keep enduring? No, I don't want to, but I'm just tenacious enough to not.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna stop. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop. And
Yeah.
the Lord has been so kind to keep me steady, to give me this foundation. I mean, I've walked with the Lord for 40 years. I've seen some really hard things
Yeah.
and walked through some really hard things. And so this isn't the first time, but the Lord has steadied me. And I ask him every day to give me strength because in myself, I just roll over and give up and quit.
Right. Right.
But I just don't have that kind of personality. And because the
And
Lord has been faithful, he's been faithful. It is not me, it is him giving me the strength. One of my favorite verses is in Isaiah 40:29 and 31. It says, he gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. I confess that God's power flows through me to strengthen every area of my weakness. And I exchange my weakness for God's strength. And I soar high above my problems and challenges because God's strength flows through me. And God sustains me and he provides ongoing endurance. So I will not grow weary and I will not give up. I am a person of strength and I'm a person of power because of God who lives in me. And that's what it boils down to.
yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. I love how you just adapted that prayer in or that scripture into prayer.
Yeah. I
A
pray it every
declaration
day.
of praise.
Yeah. I
Good.
declare it every day.
Good. Wow. You know, and we can on the outside, like we can't forget that you are suffering in this because you do just go along with your life so beautifully. But of course, those of us who are praying for you haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna share this that I know I've already told you this, but I remember driving home from Des Moines one day, and I was listening to a podcast, and I don't remember exactly what the words were, but in my spirit, God spoke to me, and because you were on my heart, and he said that you were going to be healed, and I told you that, and
Yes.
it was just so personal to me that why me? Why would you tell me this, Lord, as I'm driving home? And I get excited for what God's going to do in your situation, and suffering is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you've already answered this question. It just popped in my head, but I think you've already answered, is there something that you've learned through this suffering?
Another
What,
thing I've learned is this. I had this at the beginning of it when I was confessing God's healing and nothing was happening. I thought, okay, God, you've abandoned me. And I lived in that for many months. Now, you and I know the word says, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So this was this false belief that I was living out of. And so the Lord and wrestled with that. He's like, sweetheart, I'm right here. I'm your faithful God. And so this 20 years of walking with the Lord, if anything, I've wanted to know his character. We have to know who he is so we know what we can stand on. So we know how his character is towards us. He is compassionate. He's merciful. He is slow to anger. He is caring. He is tender. He is kind. He bottles up our tears. What?
no.
Bottles up our tears? Well, thank you, because I bottle on. Also, through this process, I've learned to lament. Being a naturally optimistic person um, isn't always good, because sometimes you just really got to have a good cry. And I think I'm good at that, but I think there's more layers to it that I needed to unpack with the Lord. And sometimes the greatest prayer I can pray is just tears. And hey, and so I'm okay with that. I'm easily, I cry easily. I don't bottle things up, but sometimes I can get angry instead. And I know when I'm angry that I'm actually hurt. So that's like, pay attention, honey. You're actually hurt right now. Yeah.
Wow. That's some wisdom right there too. But yes, and he hasn't forgotten you, and in those moments. So say someone's listening today that's struggling with uh, something that they're suffering with. What would you say to her today?
Yeah. You have to shift your focus. When we turn inward, we usually don't get very far, or we'll get turned into depression and looking at our circumstances. And in the word, the Lord is constantly saying, lift your eyes to me, lift your face to me. And so what we focus on expands. So if you focus on your own suffering, your own trial, your own difficulty, it will be magnified. But when we shift our gaze to the Lord and focus on his greatness, I read in Ephesians just the other day, I can't remember the exact passage, but it talked about, and when he ascends, he will cover the entire universe. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, then this is our God who fills the entire universe. Like, that's who I get to pray to? Like, that's amazing. Like, let's not make God small. Like, let's understand and see his greatness. And when I see how great he is, then I can hold on and go, one day in your perfect timing, in your perfect plan, I will be healed. It could be in heaven. I hope it's here. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not my decision, but I trust him and I believe he is able.
Yeah. That's key. That is so key. I'm so glad you shared that story. And I know it's vulnerable, and it's maybe hard to talk about because you don't want to be reminded of it. But I appreciate you just offering that hope to someone else today too, through your own story.
My pleasure.
Yeah. You were just a beautiful servant of the Lord. Now, friend who's watching or listening to the podcast today, you know why I wanted to have Pamela on this episode. So, Pamela, thank you. Before we close out, I would just love to just first of all point others that where can someone find you? How does someone find you? Where do they look? Tell us all
Sure.
the details.
Sure. You can find me at PamelaHenkelman.com. That's where I have all my coaching and my free resources. And then the podcast is called The Midlife Mama. That's spelled MOMMA, just in case you can't find me. And I'm on all platforms. My podcast drops every Thursday. So there's just lots of every topic for a midlife woman, everything in the emptiness, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I really like to be authentic and bring, like you do, Julie, just bring encouragement because
Mhm.
that's how God wired me. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're having some really exciting, I want to say, just you're talking about exciting things to me because I'm in this season of empty nest, but you're having some really powerful guests on to encourage us, right?
Right. For the
Yeah.
month of June, we're tackling estrangement, and it is an epidemic, and it is the most heartbreaking situation. In I have three experts. Gosh, all of a sudden her name just left me. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can think of her last name, not her first name. But she is a mom mentor who is currently walking through estrangement with her daughter. She's in the middle of it. And she has this beautiful Nicole Coates, that's her name. She has
There
this
you go.
beautiful community for moms. Then I have one of the top estrangement experts, and her name is Tanya Kazal. And she was a once estranged from her mom, and now she helps moms. Fantastic ministry. And my favorite family therapist is Rachel Hawk. And her ministry and her business of therapy is all about helping families repair, and it is so beautiful. They have such wisdom for us to learn from. Whether your relationships are just tense and uncomfortable or to truly estranged, you can learn something from these conversations that will help you. They'll help you in all relationships because honestly, relationships are difficult sometimes, right?
They are. Yeah. Complicated. Uh-huh. Yeah. So yeah, check out Pamela and all her offerings and her podcast. It's a beautiful place.
Those in the show note, right?
Yes, I will. Thank you. Yes, I will leave all the links in the show notes. So yes, send those
Thank
my way.
you. Okay.
Yes. One last thing, one last piece of encouragement that you could just offer before we wrap up today to a mom listening or to anyone listening that you just feel God leaving on your heart.
Sure. I think you need to know that God sees you. He always
Mhm.
sees you. And don't believe the lie that he's not noticing you or not available to you because it's just not true. Whenever you're reading the word, just always be asking, what is this telling me about God? What is this showing me about who he is? Every verse, every passage points us back to God. And that's how we begin to know him, as we get curious about what does this say? What does this mean? Yeah. But know that you're always seen by God.
Uh-huh. Beautiful encouragement. Thank you so much, Pamela. So glad you're here today.
It was my pleasure.
We'll see you next time. Wasn't that conversation with Pamela just encouraging? I love how Pamela just continues to point us back to God. She does that so beautifully. Even when she was telling her story about uh, the things that she's walking through now, the story that God is not finished writing about her pain and her jaw. And I love the verse that she shared with us, and it's Isaiah. I wrote it down here. It's Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29 and 31, and I will link all that in the show notes. But it's just, I appreciate Pamela and her openness and transparency to share just a little bit of her life with us. And so I pray her words really encouraged you today. And you can find Pamela. Check out the links in the show notes. You'll be able to find her there. And before we wrap up, though, we are we're in this place. We're in the middle of summer, and I've had this on my heart for a long time. I want to share something that's just kind of mulling around in my mind. It's actually been around for probably. I've been thinking about it since 2023. But over these years, so many women have just reached out to me looking for ongoing encouragement and support, not not just through the podcast, but in living out their everyday lives. And so I've been exploring the idea of creating a small group mentoring experience for women who just want a more intentional rhythm of encouragement and support. And I'm still working through all the details, but if you'd like to be among the first to hear more, I've created an interest list. And so you can find the link for this interest list in the show notes. So go ahead and click on that, and you'll be able to learn more when the details are available and when enrollment begins. And so thank you so much for joining me here and Pamela on the podcast today. And as always, it's a joy to connect with you. And I just am so glad that we get to do this life together in this way. So until next week, stay encouraged, stay hopeful, and continue to live out the abundant life that Jesus came to give you. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You can find more at julielefebure.com. And until next time, stay encouraged.